Happy holidays! I'm the Headless Historian. Yes, I do understand there's no holiday today. But we just celebrated St. Patrick's Day and it got me thinking about the origins of holidays. Now, it surprises me how many people don't realize where our holidays actually come from. And holidays are universal. It seems like every people group, besides the Jehovah's Witnesses, celebrate holidays. And why do we do that? My theory is that back in times when we were hunters and gatherers, we were living off the land, it was very difficult to find precious meats or anything that was good tasting. And so when you did find those things, or you saved those things, you celebrated, and you had this big feast of food and enjoyment. Of course, a lot of the holidays are based off seasonal things, like the solstice, or when the moon rises, or something like that. A lot of people do not understand that most of our religious holidays were created by Catholics, but were taken from pagan religions or pagan festivals. Take Easter, for instance. It was celebrated that day, or around that time. Pagans, people that aren't Christian, doesn't mean they're lower or bad or anything, would celebrate a fertility festival. And so the Catholic Church didn't want to take away that and say you can't have that, but you have to believe in God. They just said, okay, let's change it a little bit and have it focused more on God so that you're celebrating, but you're celebrating God. Gray area. So the icons of rabbits and chickens, baby chicks, eggs, denote fertility. And that's where we got all that stuff for Easter. But we just overlaid it with the resurrection of Jesus. In Germany, they have this really interesting festival. It's around this time. It's kind of like similar to Carnival. It's like a week-long just celebration of you do anything. You drink beer, you do anything. There's this town in Bavaria where on one day it's called, what's that holiday called? Oh, goodness. What is it called? Fasching. And so it's a week-long celebration of just beer drinking. It's awesome. And it's celebrated around this time. And in this small city in Bavaria, one day out of the week, all the men dressed as women because it was a day where only the women were supposed to celebrate, so the men would dress up so they got to celebrate too. And they still do stuff like that. I love holidays because they're very traditional. When I say I love holidays, I'm not a big holiday person, especially like Thanksgiving and Christmas. Just because they're so dark and drab and there's so much food. Ugh. But I do love Easter, I love St. Patrick's, I love 4th of July. I'm more of a spring, summer kind of person. So those holidays I love. Now, an interesting one is Halloween. It's the evening before All Saints' Day, which was celebrated by the Catholics. But the evening before, it's a very dark and kind of still like this pagan celebration. I just find it interesting that All Saints' Day has kind of been dwindled down and Halloween's been built up. And so that the Catholic tradition of that kind of lost on that. Lost on that. Holidays are so universal. It's fascinating. The Japanese get to celebrate Boys and Girls Day, where children get gifts just because they're children. It's exciting. I've talked about this before. In India, they celebrate this day where they throw colored dust at each other, called Holi. What else? I mean, there's a lot of holidays in like South America, Carnival, a lot of religious holidays, Day of the Dead. And I don't know anything about Africa. I should look that up. But what holidays do for me and what they remind me is that tradition is alive and well. And we're still celebrating it. We celebrate the same things our ancestors celebrated a very, very long time ago. And it just reminds me that history is still alive and we're still doing the same things as we've been doing for thousands of years. And I have to say, my favorite holiday is my birthday, which is coming up in April.